Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are taking a look at all the new engine swaps available after update 1.60. Let's get into it. Update 1.60 has brought us 5 new engine swaps. In this video we will provide a quick base tune, hot lap footage from Fuji International Speedway, and some thoughts on how the vehicle handled the swap. Keep in mind these are preliminary tunes. For more in-depth tunes, keep an eye out for the tuner series also available on this channel. So without further ado, let's tackle our first vehicle, the Lexus RC F 14. The Lexus RC F is the most well-rounded and reasonable swap of this update, but it is the slowest. This swap seems to be a perfect match for this chassis. It does not take much at all to get this Lexus to drive well. The handling is stable, attentive and pointed, and there is very little wheel spin to contend with considering the amount of power we have available to us. Using the anti-lag can make us quicker, however it does make the vehicle a bit harder to drive. At the end of the day, it is much of a muchness. This engine swap feels right at home in this Lexus, and we could easily be fooled into thinking this engine came factory in this vehicle. Next up, the Nissan Silvia S13. The S13 Silvia with the engine swap seems to be the most reasonable of the Nissans in this update. The balance of the vehicle has not been thrown out too far, and it handles the engine swap quite well. The power can seem a bit lazy without the anti-lag, but it works well either way. The handling responds well to inputs, and there isn't too much wheel spin to deal with. Even in the early stages of setup, it's clear to see that this will be a very solid race car when it's set up further. And now the S14 Silvia. The S14 Silvia with the engine swap is reasonable, but it does have its quirks. The balance of the vehicle seems to have been thrown out quite a bit by the engine swap, and bringing it back isn't easy. The end result is that it's very stable when it has traction, but when it doesn't, it's wobbly-doubly. The tail end can get quite squirrely in first and second, but once it grips up, it does well in the higher gears. Under braking, it tends to get quite wobbly, especially if we try and make adjustments to our position on track while under brakes. This can be defeated with calculated straight line braking and using staged braking when necessary. With a bit more time and effort spent dialing in the tune, this could be a very decent race car when all is said and done. Moving on to the 300ZX. The 300ZX is the fastest of the swaps available in update 1.60. However, it is one of the most erratic and difficult to drive. The fact of the matter is that there is too much power for this chassis to handle. This makes it a very wheel-spinny car. We should always be ready to catch the drift, as it will kick hard if given the opportunity. The slides are reasonable even with racing softs, but it has a very nasty bite when it grips and snaps back. Increasing the top speed has helped us with wheel spin, but we still have to use a considerable amount of throttle modulation to maintain control. The handling works well when we have traction, But when we don't, it all goes out the window. It takes an extreme amount of focus and dedication to drive this car without wheel spinning and drifting. This makes it difficult to recommend as a race car. However, as a drift car, it will be golden. And now our final vehicle, the Subaru BRZ S. This is the most unpredictable of the engine swaps available in 1.60. There is an incredibly peaky nature to this engine that does no favours for this Subaru. Adding to this is the fact that the lower 4 gears are very tightly grouped together. This BRZ with the engine swap would do well with even spacing of the gears. However, this is not in the scope of this video. As such, the solution is some mild throttle control and short shifting to keep the tail in check. But make no mistake, with the correct gearing setup, this vehicle will be the fastest in update 1.60. When not wheel spinning, the handling is decent. However, when we lose traction, this BRZ has a nasty bite that will end our race. So use caution when pushing and get on top of slides straight away. And there you have it, a quick rundown on all the new engine swaps available after update 1.60 and some base tunes to tie us over until we tackle them in the tuner series at the Nürburgring. Overall, the swaps are quite good with plenty of solid foundations for race and drift builds alike. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!